Hello, my friends, my family, and my esteemed colleagues. Today, I want to talk about varicose veins. What do we know about varicose veins? Well, people who have them, and this is, I would say, majority of elderly people, plus, if not all of them, plus now every younger people do suffer from varicose veins. So those are extended, very exaggerated veins that we see usually on our legs. Could be in different parts of the body, and they are more or less superficial. And if we ask doctor what causes these things, what causes varicose veins, well, the explanation is that collapsed valve will create this problem. So what are these collapsed valves? Well, collapsed valves, if you have a vein that carries the blood, if you have a vein that carries the blood, the vein does not have a pump that will pump it. It works on a suction of the heart. So if you are standing, for example, the heart is pretty high and your feet, they are on the ground. So now something has to bring the blood from your feet all the way to the heart. Since there is no pumping from the other side, but it is the suction, well, there is some reciprocal pumping from the heart involved as well, but basically suction. So what is happening is that this would be way too much weight to be sucked. So veins do have little valves. So when the blood is coming up, it goes through the valve and then it cannot return back. So it can only go in one direction, and this is up. Because if it goes down, the valve closes down. Many houses do have them, especially here, where we don't have water all day long. So people have holding tanks on the roof, and when water pressure comes, water fills the tank. When the water pressure is shut, then the water cannot return back to the piping because the one-way valve is blocking it. So it just opens in this direction and closes, and water cannot go back there. Same is the system principle in veins. So veins in our body, not only veins in our legs, but basically all the veins have these little valves. Now, if valves start collapsing, then the blood is going to start falling down, gravity. And it will stop by that valve that is still holding. And if longer and longer part of the vein that is being affected with those lousy valves, now there's a pressure accumulation of blood that is supported only by the lower valve, and this may start increasing, dilating the blood vessel, and more blood it holds, the darker it gets. Plus also here there is a poor oxygenation because this is really not flowing properly. So further problems are arising, which could be also coagulum. So coagulum may form, and then if by any chance you are doing something and you become more active, now increased pressure of circulation may break some of this coagulum, and it can go into your lungs, it can go into, well, not really brain, but it will go into your heart. It may make blockage, and it can cause actually stroke, and it can cause brain stroke as well. So it is potentially dangerous. Why do we see these veins? Because normally if the vein is deeper set in the body, there are muscles and connective tissue around it packed, and we don't, it keeps basically the vein tighter, and also we don't see them, so we don't actually know what is going on over there until we surgically open it, no? But especially those veins that are close to the skin, now there is no other muscle holding them, and if we have problem with these valves, we very well are going to have problem with connective tissue, with the muscles, with walls of the blood vessels, skin, and the whole system. Why? Well, doctors are saying that problem of varicose veins is basically because we sit too much, so we are making some pressure of the veins, so it's more difficult for blood to go back, and at the same time we are not active, so there is no muscle contraction that is going to help the circulation. Everything becomes more stagnant. So they say this is one of the problems. Another problem, they say, well, if you are obese, you basically need more blood, and also your veins, everything gets under more pressure, so you are going to have more problems with varicose veins. This is all big baloney, okay? When you have problem with varicose veins that you see them, you may be sure that you have problem with your blood circulation in the whole body. Only you see one symptom, and doctors focus on this one symptom, so they say, okay, we will operate it, we will cut it out, we'll reconnect, we'll do da-da-da. These are all patches. You are working on one little section or few sections. What about the rest of the body? Because once when you have a problem with valves, you may very well develop problem with heart valve, with all the sphincter muscles, with muscles in general. Why? Because nobody talks about the culprit. Why do we have problem with these valves? What causes the problem? Nobody touches it. Why? Because doctors are clueless. They say, well, it is more common with older people. Why? Because they are more toxic. It all goes back to blood toxicity. Cells do not want to hydrate if blood is toxic. So if the cells do not hydrate, they will start dehydrating. And as they dehydrate, they become acidic. If you have acidic valve, this acidic valve is going to lose tension, same like a muscle. Acidic muscle loses tension, becomes brittle. Same happens with valve. Loses tension, becomes brittle. And under pressure, it is going to swing the other way. And now more and more blood accumulates in this area and start putting more pressure, internal pressure, on the walls of this vein. And since the vein itself is being in the same situation, extremely acidic and toxic, it has no tension, becomes brittle, and it starts expanding. Now, there is always then possibility of it to ulcerate, so starts leaking. And this is what is happening. Okay, and why do we see them on the legs? Because on one side we have only skin and connective tissue, and they are all in bad shape, same as the veins and the muscles, because everything suffers from the same problem, which is blood toxicity. And everything is made by cells, and cells do not hydrate when blood is toxic. So they all become dehydrated and acidic. So it's all same thing, but in medicine We are told, no, 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 one thing has nothing to do with the other. You have a problem with varicose veins, has nothing to do with your heart valve, has nothing to do with your hernia, has nothing to do with your sphincter muscle that you cannot stop urinating or defecate, or you have a reflux. Nothing to do with it. They're all separate things. Baloney! It's all the same damn thing, but in different parts, and we give it different names. So once, if you have a problem with varicose veins, you can be sure that you have a problem with circulation, you have a problem with the muscles, you have a problem with the bones, you have a problem with the whole body. It's just a matter of time for the symptom to be realized in some other areas. Because what we refer to as diseases are nothing more than symptoms. They are not diseases, they are symptoms of toxic body being shown to us, presented through various symptoms, various ways, and we call it disease. But they are all basic, all chronic diseases are related. So how do we tackle this? Well, what doctors do is pure nonsense. Surgery, putting compression stockings. This is not treatment. This is a child's play. You can have a little girl with a doll and you give her stuff. This is something the child would do. This is not a healing. Doctors, please wake up, okay? You are doing stupid things. To heal, you have to start always from blood. You have to cleanse the blood and oxygenate it. So how do you cleanse the blood? Follow the self-healer's protocol. Basically, you cannot cleanse the blood unless you increase plasma level in your body. Water plasma. How do you do it? By drinking seawater or water with sea salt. This is plasma. As soon as you increase plasma levels, the cleansing organs are going to take over and they will cleanse the blood, showing symptoms of cleansing, which could be very unpleasant and resemble very much common flu. So, whatever we know, what we are being told, nonsense, and we keep repeating the nonsense and practicing nonsense. This is why we always practicing medicine. We never get any further but practicing. Stop practicing, start healing. Learn the truth. Forget about the books. Forget about your professors. They are brainwashed by the same books as you are. Start learning the truth. Okay, so when we cleanse the blood, now the cells can start hydrating, and the first thing they will do when a little bit of water comes in, they will start to cleanse. They will start throwing the toxins. Where do they throw them? Back in the blood, and blood becomes toxic again. So it's a cycle, and it's something that is time consuming. It's not happening in one day. But the only way to help and actually heal the body, forget about the word cure, preserve. You don't want to preserve, you want to heal. So the only way to heal the body is allow it to do its job. And for this, it needs water, it needs sea salt, because it needs all those minerals, 80 minerals especially. It needs, of course, sodium and chloride, which is your basic salinity of salt. But it needs a lot of magnesium, which sea salt is loaded, but fresh sea salt, because magnesium absorbs water. So you leave a fresh sea salt on your table at night, in the morning you see drops of water. It just turns into water because of the huge amount of magnesium that is there. But longer the salt is out of the water, it is going to sweat, and magnesium will start disappearing, and also some other minerals. So longer it is out of the water, the rock salts, the Himalayan bologna salt that they said is very healthy, is just garbage salt. Okay, it's less toxic than table salt because table salt is purposefully made toxic. But Himalayan salt is toxic salt. And even the non-toxic rock salts, sedimented salts, they lack of magnesium and many minerals because basically they are washed out through the humidity. And magnesium just liquefies it and starts washing it off. So the only salt we can use for healing, and we should be using in general only one type of salt, which is not refined, not iodide with the toxic iodine they put in it, salt, sea salt. And water, you drink this stuff and you will start raising plasma levels in your body, and your cleansing organs immediately go in action and they start cleansing. Why you have a kidney failure? Because you forbid salt. This is why the body gets more and more toxic rapidly when they are not ionic action. So when you have varicose veins, don't take it lightly. Don't think, wow, this is just on my leg. I have a very good friend that was living here in Peru with us. I was telling him for years, brother, you have to start hydrating because you are toxic. Your blood is toxic. And he was proud because he looked very young, because he made facial exercises, skin exercises. So, 75-year-old, but he looked like 50, 55-year-old. Here and here. But when you look at his legs, disaster. Okay, so he always had tight stockings, like this is going to help something. I told him, one day you are going to wake up with stroke. And exactly this is what happened. So, don't take things lightly. If you have varicose veins, forget about any doctor that tells you surgery. Because yeah, you can operate on those that you see. Oh, what about those that you don't see? Because if you have a problem with varicose veins, visible, well, there are a lot of varicose vein problems invisible, which are set deeper. Plus, it's not even important if it's varicose vein, because this is just proof that your blood is extremely toxic. And if you are not going to have problem with varicose veins and with stroke, well, you are going to have problem with your heart valve, you are going to have problem with your reflux, you are going to have problem with holding your urine. Problems are going to come because there are hernias. It's all the same mechanism. We are being told, oh, one has nothing to do with other. Varicose veins have nothing to do with hernia. Baloney, it's the same thing, but on different organ, caused by same culprit, which is blood toxicity. And we say, well, how can you clean blood? You cannot clean blood. Body does it, but it needs plasma. That's the only thing it needs. So give it plasma. Some people are paying now who have heard these things. So now they are paying a lot of money buying this sea plasma water. Well, what is the sea plasma? It is basically 3-to-1 seawater mixed with distilled water. And they are paying fortune. Stop being fooled. Buy cheap sea salt, but pure, not refined sea salt. Get it from the vet. Get it from those that use the sea salt to put on the streets to keep them so they don't freeze. This is the salt. Mix it with water. Minimum half teaspoon per 1 liter of water, and drink at least 3 liters of this plasma daily, so you can put in motion your cleansing system. And many symptoms will come, and you may get scared, because symptoms are like a strong flu sometimes. It all depends on the level of blood toxicity. And later on it has 2 phases. So about this, I don't know if I made a video or I didn't, so I'm going to check, and I'm going to make special video just about hydration, how it goes and what is involved. But it's very simple stuff. We don't need any medicine, we don't need any doctors, we need knowledge. So think about this. And if you need help, if you're on medication, because you cannot hydrate on cellular level if you are medicated. Not even aspirin. You cannot have anything. Not even medicinal plants. You cannot have garlic, for example, if you want to hydrate on cellular level and get rid of these problems. You cannot have turmeric. Yeah, but we are being told, garlic, turmeric, this is healthy stuff. Baloney. It's a toxic poison that we use as a medicinal remedy. You don't take medicines when you are sick, and you are taking medicinal remedies only for short time, just if you have some acute problem, something that you really have to control. And as soon as it's under control, get rid of it and start hydrating and let your body start cleansing and repairing itself. Okay? I hope I was clear enough about things. If you have any particular question, please let me know. You can email me, you can make a comment. I'll be glad to help you. Love you all.